Section 77 of the Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri, translated by Courtney Langdon. This Librivox recording is in the public domain. Paradiso, Canto 10. The Fourth Heaven. The Sun. Intellectual Happiness. The Spirits of Theologians and Philosophers.
Looking upon his Son with all the love which both of them eternally breathe forth, the primal and unutterable power with so great order made whate'er revolves through mind or space, that none who look at it can ever be without a taste of him. Lift, therefore, reader, to the heavenly wheels thine eyes with me, directly to the region where one of their two motions strikes the other, and there begin to contemplate with love that master's art, who in himself so loves it, that never doth his eye abandon it. And now see how from thence the oblique ring, which bears the planets with it, branches off, to please the world which calls upon them. How, in case their path were not thus bent aside, in vain would be much virtue in the heavens, and dead well nigh all potencies down here. And how, if from the straight line more or less removed it swerved, much in the mundane order would lacking be below and up above. Now, reader, on thy bench remain, and what is here foretasted follow out in thought, if thou, ere weary, wouldst be very glad. Food have I set before thee, feed thou now thyself, because the theme, whose scribe I'm made, unto itself is resting all my care. The greatest of the ministers of nature, which with the power of heaven imprints the world, and with its light measures our time for us, joined with the section touched upon above, was circling now around the spiral rings, wherein it earlier shows itself each day. And I was in it, but was not aware of my ascent, except as one before a thought has come is conscious of its coming. 'Tis Beatrice, who thus from good to better conducts one with such swiftness that her act extendeth not through time. In its own self how bright must that have been, which in the sun, which I had entered, was not visible by colour, but by light. Though I on genius, practice, and art should call, I could not so describe it, that it e'er could be imagined. But it can be believed, and sight of it should be desired. And for such heights, if low be our imagination, is no wonder. For no eye ever reached beyond the sun. Such the fourth family here of that exalted Father, who ever states it by revealing how he breathes forth and how he generates. And Beatrice began,
Give thanks unto the angel's Son, who of his grace hath raised thee up to this material one.
No mortal heart was ever so disposed to be devoted, and with all its pleasure give itself up to God, as I became at those last words of hers. Hence all my love set itself so on him, that Beatrice in my forgetting mind became eclipsed, and she disliked it not, but smiled at it, so that the splendour of her laughing eyes shared with more things my undivided mind. I many keen and dazzling splendours saw, who sweeter voiced than in appearance bright, made us a centre and themselves a crown. Latona's daughter we behold at times thus girded, when so pregnant is the air, that it retains the thread that forms her zone. Within the court of heaven, whence I return, are many jewels found, so fair and precious, that from the kingdom they may not be moved. And of these was the singing of those lights. Let him who doth not feather him to fly up there await the dumb for news from thence. And then, when singing thus, those burning suns had all around us whirled themselves 3 times, like stars that near unmoving poles revolve. Ladies they seemed to me, who though not through with dancing, yet in silence stop a while, and list till they have caught the music's coming notes. In one I heard beginning,
Since the ray of grace, whereby true love is set on fire, and afterward, by dint of loving, grows and multiplies, is shining in thee so, that it conducts thee upward o'er the stairs which none without remounting e'er descends. He who thy thirst the wine within his flask refused, would be no more at liberty than water is which falls not to the sea. Thou fain wouldst know what blooms this wreath enflowers itself withal, which, circling round her, woos the lady fair who makes thee strong for heaven. One of that holy flock's young lambs was I, which Dominic leads along the path whereon one thriveth well, if one go not astray. The nearest on my right here was my brother and teacher. He was Albert of Cologne, and Thomas of Aquinum I. If thus of all the other lights thou wouldst be sure, follow behind my speaking with thy face revolving upward round the blessed wreath. That other flaming issues from the smile of Gratian, who to both the courts of law was such a help, that Paradise is pleased. The next, who at his side adorns our choir, that Peter was, who, like the needy widow, offered his treasure up to Holy Church. The fifth light, which is fairest in our midst, is with such love inspired, that all the world down there is hungry to have news of it. In it is that great mind, wherein was placed wisdom so deep, that if the truth be true, no second hath arisen to see so much. See next which that candle's light which saw most inwardly, when in the flesh below, the angels' nature and their ministry. In the next little light, that advocate of Christian times is smiling, of whose work in Latin Augustine availed himself. If now thy mind's eye thou art moving on, from light to light, behind my words of praise, thou now remainest thirsting for the eighth, because it sees all good things. There within that holy soul rejoices, which reveals the cheating world to one who hears him well. Down yonder in Childaro lies the body, from which this soul was driven, and to this peace from martyrdom and banishment it came. Flaming beyond it, see the burning breath of Isidore, of Bede, and of Ricardo, who was in speculation more than man. And this, from whom thy glance returns to me, the light is of a spirit, unto whom in deep thoughts lost, it seemed that death came slowly. This is the light eternal of Sigieri, who when he lectured in the street of straw, proved by his syllogisms displeasing truths.
Then like a clock which calls us at the hour, at which the bride of God awakes to sing her spouse a morning song, and win his love, and as one part or draws or drives the other, and sounds ting ting with such delightful notes, that spirits well disposed are filled with love. Even so I saw that glorious circle move, and fuse its voices in a harmony and with a sweetness which can not be known, except where joy is self-externalized.
End of Paradiso Canto 10.